The 13th chapter of Mark's Gospel is considered the most difficult part of the Gospel to understand and comment on. It's not easy to explain. So how should we understand what Jesus says about the days of tribulation, when the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will be falling from the sky, and the powers of heaven will be shaken? That's a description of the ends of the world. It might help to go to the beginning of the 13th chapter of Mark's Gospel. Jesus and his disciples have just left the temple in Jerusalem, and one of the disciples says to him, "Look, teacher, what stones and what buildings." He was pointing to the magnificent new temple begun by Herod the Great, one of history's great builders. The new temple was a wonder of its time. Herod was a master builder who not only began the temple, he built seaports, cities, fortresses, roads, palaces. You needed money for all that building, of course. And that's why there's so many complaints about tax collectors and tributes to Caesar in the gospel. Herod was ruthless in getting his way. Do you see these great buildings? There will not be one stone left upon another that will not be thrown down, Jesus told his disciples. He was pointing out the impermanence of stones and buildings. The temple of Jerusalem was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70. Herod's projects came to an end. The Roman Empire itself also came to an end. But the disciple who admired Herod's temple that day wasn't the only disciple of Jesus who admired stones and buildings and empires. And there were others who saw a great empire in the future, a Jewish empire, that Jesus could bring about when he came to power. James and John, two of his key disciples, asked for a place in that kingdom, you remember. But buildings and stones and great empires don't last, Jesus says. He wasn't against human progress or human projects and the development of humanity that they represent. No. He wasn't against Caesar and the nations and empires and peoples. He wasn't a Jewish nationalist whose own people were the only people that he thought about. He taught that every nation, every empire, every people will be judged by the way they prepare for God's kingdom, a kingdom of justice and peace, where everyone sits at the same table, where the poor and the weak are cared for, and no one is left behind. The kingdom of God is coming, Jesus said. We should work and pray for God's kingdom to come. So there are two lessons to draw from these readings, difficult as they are. First, nations rise and fall. They have their day. But God's kingdom lasts forever, more than stones and buildings. It's how we are just and fair that makes a nation great. Second, don't be afraid. When the sun is darkened, and the moon does not give its light, and the stars fall from the sky, and the powers in heaven are shaken. Jesus, God's Son, has come, and he's with us. He's with the nations of the world as they rise and fall. He's with our world, which he loves. He's with each of us. Don't be afraid, Jesus says. I'm with you.